This is the story of a weak accountant everyone made fun of, until his family was attacked, and they discovered he was the most dangerous hitman alive. The film begins in an interrogation room. Hutch Mansell sits battered and bloodied, a stray cat in his arms as he feeds it tuna and lights a cigarette. When the detectives ask who he is, Hutch replies simply, "I'm nobody." A few days earlier, Hutch is shown living a monotonous routine, morning workouts, commuting to his uninspiring desk job, and constantly missing the garbage truck. At home, he shares a strained marriage with Becca, a real estate agent, and struggles to connect with their two children, Blake and Sammy. Blake, in particular, views his father with little respect. One night, Hutch checks on his kids and notices Blake signaling downstairs. Someone has broken into the house. Hutch quietly descends to find a couple, Luis and Lupita, attempting a robbery. When Lupita points a gun at him, Hutch remains calm and tells her to take the cash from the bowl in the kitchen. They also demand his watch and wedding ring, but he only surrenders the watch. As they prepare to leave, Blake tackles Luis and restrains him. Lupita raises the gun, and Hutch nearly attacks her with a golf club but hesitates, telling Blake to release Luis. After being freed, Luis punches Hutch in the face, and the pair escape. Later, police arrive, leaving Hutch guilty and ashamed. His own son and even the responding officer openly criticize him for not fighting back. At work the next day, Hutch's boss and father-in-law, Eddie, brings up the incident, while Becca's brother Charlie hands Hutch a gun for protection. Later, Hutch contacts his hidden brother Harry through a secure radio channel, explaining that he recognized Lupita's gun was unloaded, another reason he held back. Seeking guidance, Hutch visits his father, David, a retired FBI agent, who immediately notices that something is troubling his son. Despite trying to move on with his life, Hutch can't escape the guilt of doing nothing when his family needed him most. When his daughter Sammy mentions her beloved kitty cat bracelet is missing, Hutch suspects the robbers took it. Determined to set things right, he heads out. Stopping by his father David's house while he sleeps, Hutch quietly takes his old FBI badge and gun. David catches him, but Hutch simply says he has something to take care of. Recalling the tattoo on Lupita's wrist, Hutch visits a string of tattoo parlors, questioning the artists. At one shady shop, a group of men try to intimidate him, until one spots a faint tattoo on Hutch's wrist, a pair of cards. Realizing what it means, the man thanks Hutch for his service and bolts. The tattoo artist, now fearful, points Hutch in the right direction. Hutch tracks Luis and Lupita to their apartment, breaks in, and pistol whips Luis into handing over his stolen watch. But when it comes to Sammy's bracelet, they swear they don't have it. Hutch then sees their sick infant and the couple begging for mercy. Frustrated, he storms out into the rain, punching a brick wall in anger. On his bus ride home, a group of drunken men boards after wrecking their car, harassing passengers, including a young woman. Hutch signals the driver to step out, preparing to handle the situation himself. What follows is a brutal brawl. The men land some blows, but Hutch unleashes his full fury, dismantling them one by one. Even after being stabbed in the side and thrown through a window, he climbs back in and resumes the fight. When Teddy, one of the thugs, grabs Hutch's gun and aims at him, Hutch seizes a bus pole, disarms him, and beats him until his windpipe collapses. Instead of letting him die, Hutch calmly performs a tracheotomy to keep him breathing. Bloodied but victorious, Hutch finally returns home. Becca is still awake. One look at him, broken and bruised, and she knows exactly what he's been doing, because she knows the man he used to be. As she stitches his wound, Hutch admits what's been eating at him, the growing distance between them, and how much it's been weighing on him. At a downtown nightclub, mobster Yulian Kuznetsov makes a flashy entrance, dancing his way onto the stage before meeting with his criminal associates to discuss the security of their shared fortune, the Obshak. Some doubt Yulian's leadership, mocking his eccentric behavior and obsession with dancing. But he quickly proves how lethal he really is, smashing a martini glass and slashing one shareholder across the face, then brutally cutting his throat for daring to look at him the wrong way. The others coldly toast to his death, knowing it means a bigger cut for them. Yulian is soon called to the hospital, where he discovers his younger brother, Teddy, in a vegetative state. The doctors explain that Teddy has suffered irreversible brain damage. Enraged, Julian violently interrogates Teddy's friends to find out who was responsible for the attack. Meanwhile, Hutch receives a call from his brother Harry, warning him that Julian now has his sights set on him, and that he's extremely dangerous. Harry advises Hutch to visit the barber, an underworld figure with information. When Hutch arrives, the barber is already expecting him. He hands Hutch a file detailing Julian's violent reputation and the staggering fortune the Obshak protects, millions in mob money. At the same time, Julian has his top enforcer dig into Hutch's past. She blackmails her FBI informant with compromising photos, forcing him to dig through classified archives. What she finds terrifies even her. Hutch was once a trained, ruthless killer. Unwilling to get caught in the crossfire, she quits on the spot, leaving Julian to handle Hutch alone. Furious but undeterred, Julian orders his entire army of men to hunt Hutch down, alive. As the Mansell family prepares for dinner, Hutch notices 3 cars pulling up and parking across the street. Realizing danger is imminent, he quickly directs Becca and the children into the basement panic room before shutting off the lights. When the armed men break into the house, Hutch engages them in a brutal fight, shooting and stabbing most of them until he is subdued with a taser to the neck. The attackers throw him into the trunk, intending to deliver him to Julian. However, Hutch regains consciousness mid-ride, forces the trunk open, and, unable to simply escape, grabs a fire extinguisher from the car, spraying it through the back seat to blind the gunman and cause a crash. Crawling out of the wreck, Hutch encounters one of Julian's men trapped and dying under the vehicle. In his final moments, Hutch reveals to the man that he was once an auditor, a lethal enforcer feared by all. Before running back home, Hutch warns his brother David to stay alert. Returning, he releases his family from the panic room, shielding young Sammy from the gruesome sight of the bodies. He then sends Becca and the kids to safety, promising her that he will come back to them. Gathering the corpses of the gunmen, along with one barely clinging to life, Hutch drags them into the basement. There, he reflects on his past, recounting his final mission, eliminating a corrupt man accused of embezzlement. Although ordered to kill, Hutch sensed the man's genuine remorse and spared him. Later, he discovered that the man had built a happy life with a wife and 2 children, sparking Hutch's own desire to leave his violent world behind and settle down. After his confession, Hutch drenches the house in kerosene, sets it ablaze, and walks away to finish what he started. Hutch then brings a bag of gold bars to Eddie, offering to buy his establishment. Eddie agrees, despite Charlie's protest, who even tries to attack Hutch but is swiftly knocked down. With the deal sealed, Hutch begins fortifying the place with traps and weapons. Soon after, he tracks down the Obshak, eliminates all of its guards, and burns every last dollar of Julian's fortune. Meanwhile, 2 of Julian's men attempt to ambush David at the retirement home, but he is ready for them, killing one with a shotgun and suffocating the other before they can lay a hand on him. Hutch walks into Julian's nightclub and calmly sits down for a meal. Soon, the gunmen surround him, until Hutch reveals a claymore mine strapped to his finger, ready to detonate if necessary. Julian orders his men to back off so he can speak directly with Hutch, who coldly informs him that he has destroyed everything he owns. When Julian learns that the Obshak is gone, he explodes with rage. Hutch then leaves the club, prompting Julian and his crew to chase him through the city streets. A high-speed pursuit ensues, during which Hutch takes out several of Julian's men before reaching his fortified warehouse. The villains storm the warehouse and open fire, only for Hutch to be joined unexpectedly by Harry and David, who arrive to fight at his side. Together, the 3 unleash a brutal counterattack, shooting, stabbing, and setting off Hutch's deadly booby traps, mechanisms that impale attackers with steel bars or detonate explosives under their feet. One by one, Julian's forces are wiped out until only the mob boss himself remains. Vowing revenge on Hutch's entire family, Julian faces him in a final standoff. Hutch tapes the claymore to a bulletproof glass panel, charges at Julian, and pulls the pin, triggering an explosion that slams Julian into the wall and kills him instantly. Grateful for their support, Hutch thanks Harry and David but sends them away before the police arrive. He then quietly retrieves his cat and walks out. Back in police custody, Hutch sits through interrogation and offers the same cryptic reply. He is nobody. Moments later, both detectives receive silent phone calls that compel them to release him without question. 3 months later, Hutch and Becca are touring a new house. As the real estate agent shows them around, he receives a phone call for Hutch. Answering it, Hutch hears nothing, but the unspoken threat is clear. His past is still chasing him. He and Becca exchange a look, then ask the agent a telling question. Does this place have a basement?